Or should we do it on Zoom?
Oh, we are doing roll
I
call.
would.
Okay.
Well. Sorry. Mary is here. Maria's here. Yeah, everyone's here. And then just put this over. We'll take that. Hi.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who are here with us all day or part of the afternoon, thank you. Welcome back. We hope you had a great dinner break. For those of you who are just arriving, welcome. It's been an amazing, amazing day so far. A return back, if not to normalcy, because look at us, at least to a really amazing time and venue and synergy. It's been so enjoyable. So welcome to the 2022 Boston Poetry Marathon, 7 o'clock hour. I am your MC tonight, and Christina Strong is the tech host. I'd like to thank, yay. I'd like to thank all of my team members, Suzanne, Merkley, Bridget, Eileen. We're doing it, so it's been great. It's also been amazing seeing people whom I've either never met in real life or whom I haven't seen in years. So it's been a little surreal in that way. Without further ado, I'll just introduce the readers of the hour. Mary Butchinger, Maria Damon, Gail Bachelor, perfect, Martha McCullough, and Kevin Gallagher, great, and Suzanne Mercury. Okay. Okay, so we obviously have a fundraiser. We have a GoFundMe, which is actually pretty apparent, I think, on all of our social media networks, but also slyly placed our QR codes in different areas of the venue, including the restrooms. So take note of that. We'll find you. There's also a jar being passed around. Feel free, if you wish, to donate some cash. It's going to two really amazing organizations, the Women Project of Rhode Island, as well as Eastern Massachusetts Abortion Funds, because we really need to fight for our lives and the lives of our future daughters, right? Okay, each reader will have 7 minutes. I'll let all of you know gently, slyly, when you are close to your 7 minutes. My name is Christina Liu. Thank you. But I will let you know when you're close to your 7 minutes, probably by gently interjecting or with a wink, but you will know in some fashion. So without further ado, I would love to introduce our first reader, Mary Butchinger. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Right, you don't have to go to Christina. Thanks, Christina. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, everybody. This is a remarkable project. So great. So I'm going to launch into my sequence, which is exactly 6.5 minutes. Called Language Has a Hold on Me. At the open mic, the telling about the poem before the reading of the poem is when I say, I must leave the room. I feel in my bones, in my soul, my God-given day draining away. But no, says the word. I am talking to you. The word doesn't end. Even in a Creole I do not speak. It is full of ocean and stubble, holds nothing edible, repeats as if over time I will understand. It is the same and different stream of velvet hills and Genesis. The words wander about me, bat my ears. Infant me, uncomprehending. yet language inhabits my cells. The sounds swish inside my spirit walls. Consonant and air, plosive, fricative, liquid, liquid, stop and stop. How many the sounds, always new, one after the other, they form again, undiminished. If I am word, not all sound is meaning. Air listens to air, accepting nothing. There is no medium to carry Earth's noise, the scientists said. And the black hole song is 57 octaves below middle C. Resynthesize its pressure waves, and you can hear its eerie hollow. The black hole, too, speaks memory, like the roots of a cut-down tree. It tells of all it has swallowed. What moves does not always also breathe. Sometimes I feel the vowels lowing inside, consonant knock against my bones, unhearable words waiting to be synthesized. Sweep your arm bones into the air, the instructor says. And I do. My muscles do, my heart and blood, my sensing mind. I hear her words and do. The girl moves like a light through the dreamscape. Beside her, a jet lands on the marsh. Cattails shiver and recover. A voice calls out to her from the corner of a house, a shadow of window. She feels recognized and encouraged. A dog sleeps on the grass in the night. The poet's advice to young authors: write and examine your sentences, your words, your way in the language. Understand your voice, whether or not you like it. Know your voice. Listen and study and write into your voice. It is hard work. The frequency of you is the God of you. Surround sound channels, podcasts to your head, words borrowed, trashed, filled, and refilled. In the beginning was the Word. The Word is yes, is you. And the ones who are silent, it turns out they're not silent, but speaking misery and blues. There is no medium for this to be heard in the news. Always with us, the poor. Always with us, the oppressed. But the Word is with God, and the beginning is new. Who will resynthesize the octave of suffering that we may hear? The mystic is prescient, the mystic crazy. Silence is potent, silence compliant. Listen, I grew up with parables and pastures, gratefully losing myself in both. Now I work to untangle what I was taught, to lay out the parables and thread them through the pasture of me. Who can live in radical complexity? For here we are, at odds. I sit on the wall with the egg at my side. Who will put us back together again? The good, the evil, the right, the wrong meet on the rampart of who says and every word with many meanings. How to choose which ears to lend. Massage the pressure waves, O heart. Listen for what you cannot hear. What roots of trees speak from beneath a stump? This, the language we're born to. Words begin, beginnings in words. In the beginning, I was a word, spoken or thought, felt. I inhabit the word that enters light when heard and understood. The word is work, is after something, is one, is genius loci, is me, singular word, unalone, word with God. And yes, how else God, if not each of we? Our landscapes, losses, loves. Each I is we, meaning derived, combined etymology, burgeoning henceforth I, and what I sentence with. Tense, manner, number, in relation. I, pronoun of God am.
So much. That was profound, beautiful. I can't think of a more fitting meditation to begin this hour of poetry. Thank you. Especially love octaves of sovereign. So, for our next reader, we have the marvelous Maria Damon.
That was lovely. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. So these are some collaborations between me and Alan Sondheim, and they are sort of about the Ukraine war. More explanation, more thanks, just to please my friends who hate explanations and thanks out there. So they'll sound a little like conversations in which there might be a little tension. Trash battery apocalypse, what do you want from me? Listen to the radio ceiling geared to the ground, something thinner. I celebrate minutiae, drafting an awesome chronology. Your minutiae are dust, your chronology ground into ground. Where is the archive inside your body ready to be extruded? Where is the cut that never heals? Cicatrix cauterized, dry heaves you, diluted or not, here it come. A young outreach liaison is an ostrich forever, stupid child. Nothing comes from that. The crushed clock has no hands. Abstract or not, it is a catastrophe. Do a good deed with your skillet forever. Yes, catastrophe. Nothing has hands. You have no hands. Nothing has greed. Can you stretch the lines, the body lines and the word lines and the front lines? Yes, I can, stupid child. Where are minutiae and collaborators? Take this wherever you wish, collaborationists and collaborators who will. How do we make a composite genius? Kill you, genius. Stop listening to the war. Just a word I heard on the war, on the radio, on the war we heard. We will kill you. And then this other one called Bird Sweet. Horizon sounds with some verticality. The verticality is low, shrapnel chirp tendrils. Something a chirp in the nascent fuses. In a void, emptied nest eggs, egged on fusees dawn. Green, a mix of sun and ocean, and incommensurate anxiety, broken shells. A global portrait fail, mollusks corroded hinges, abstraction. Birds in a no-fly zone. Rule, the night of figuration. One child among zones begirdle the horizon. The them, dead in books, live encampments fury. A Venusian blindfold encircles the world. Blind and ragged eyes, torn from skies, sockets, war-worn train tracks slither off-ramp into the charnel hoose of bones, familiar off-ramp, otherwise a slight shift rightwards. Dead tongues cannot speak, they said. Proper speech and impossibility. Dead tongues cannot speak, they said. Thank you. That's it.
One thing. Thank you. Next up is Gail Thatch.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, for listening and sharing the poems, and also to our fabulous organizers. I still think that this might be real, so hard to tell. We are here for modeled, for swerve and slingshot, here to collect our things for further study, misreading the room, for whatever our bodies will give us, haunted or full, for lavender, darkened doorways. We are for hunger and crooked brow. We are here for pomegranate bitterness on the tongue, woo box, blessings and blare, proponents of flim flam descending into the belly of autumn, this year's red, burnt, dull, luck turned slovenly. We are for holding, pulse, and danger, here for it, here. Further instructions for salvation, and if not salvation, the weekend. Feel the wobble in your twitchy eye, water house plants. Cancel your stories of stained glass and sacrament. Smoke weed. Recall a sunrise without echoing. Arrange your lives end to end. Dust snow off the car using your bare hand. Redact your weariness line by line. Hunt down blooming snowdrops in the mud. Stand still as the blue heron in the winter graveyard. Replace sorry with never. Pick yourself up, inconsequential and yet. Root. You might say, or you might think, you have a day or one more left by the side of the road. It was sad, it was a shame, the way falling to earth became a game. Spiders in parachute silk and missiles, brightly lit. Even the stars grazed dirt, tossed down their restless shine. There was no crime too mysterious, no heaven for the woe begotten, the quest for answers abandoned, the soft yelp of again. You might say, you have forgotten the way. You might stay for one more. You just might, you never know. Camber. What if in the end, it's just untitled? No pathway to the summary, theme, gist, where you stood and why. All you gave it when the day was full, and the rest you gave on empty. The chilling, the childing, warming sun, photo of your scarf-held hair. The, oh, come on now, camber of you fitted to the journey, breath and breadth, daily bread given and forgiven too, one rain or gloom, heartbreak, surprise of thunder. You set soaring by daub of paint or tumbling hard to dirt. The do you suppose we could? Serendipity of always the train station clock under which to rendezvous, the assay of chaff and leaf, eyelash and lip. Your one body breathing, held fiercely tender by its skin, the leaving behind, the never mind, and not yet mine. Tell me again where you stood and when. Untitled. I'm peachy keen, the medication tells me. This one, peach for the blood, white for the synapse. doing my best, my littlest, my most ragtag, wind-blown, teeth still sturdy, bit yellowed. Here's the code for this, that. How do you enter if it's meager, if it's mere? How beautiful the sound of Calais strikes me of a day. Calais, Calais. Is it lovely there? Shadows cast, mortality burnt off. Here's an idea. I think we are at the demarcation. Life fully lived, knockoff handbags and Dior and fuchsia. 3 old tabby cats on a windowsill eyeing the street. A reboot, a background check, letting bygones be, courting a sense of the possible, of an ending, of the missing. Are there side effects? To those of you still asking, a walk with the lesser angels still undone. Heaven like flotsam in the gutter. When there was a world, it was never whole or shiny or blue. Yesterday, the wind kept cool, and here or there an echo of bickering branches. But why speak your own mind and not another's? Maybe you crossed that bridge when you came to it, but never after, never fleet, wings or no wings. Cable car fall, your worst nightmare. No, the stalled elevator, the quick drop elevator, economy class turbulence, when armature cannot keep you steady, cannot keep you already tiring. You could have walked long into the heat or sat still enough to fend off the hungry gulls. Now save yourself and your recycling. The baby and the bathwater, carry yourself lightly, loose leaf, loose fit, tightly knit, tight-fisted gift horse. Marry an ode to the eye of the hawk, to the maelstrom. Is there really a time worth having? A hero's welcome? Snap of a twig breaking or a heartbroken? Fingers snap to the to the beat. Crackle of static and cackle that rang harsh when all you meant was ode to hail, to nail polish, to dirty dishes rattling in the sink. The sun dragging itself aloft. Thank you very much.
You asked such good questions in your poetry. You asked great questions in your poetry. I love that. Thank you. Next, we have Martha McCullough.
War movie. In the street, Team Giant Eagle is fighting Team Fresh City for the potable water. Neighbor, please, don't shoot. At night, out comes everyone whose job it is to be terrible. In the ruins of the lock and load bait and ammo shop, Polyphemus wrestles John Galt for the last Kalashnikov. Here we go. All against all against all. Fired from a cartoon cannon, a head hurtles into a red abyss, deflating thought balloons still whispering, have mercy. Abyss still whispering, no. These are newer poems. Trash Witch. Sneaking the woods by last light to sift all you don't want. Hope you burnt the shreds of your haircut. In her kitchen, a little doll wrapped in a scrap of your suit. Her tattoo in hieroglyphs, she stabbed with a sewing needle instead of stitching a rose on a pillowcase. To think they thought they could make her sit up straight. Her dream hut spins in the thicket on chicken bone legs, a rusty two-tone truck, bigger inside than out, the better to house layers of drugstore sci-fi, old nests, bent oraries, all her trifles. Lucky stub ashed on a plate, flat fake nails scratching red-lined arms, crumbs on velvet. She says, "What card am I holding?" If she wanted a friend, she'd want it to be a wolf. Still, she claims to lack a taste for mayhem. Why has no one offered her a suitcase full of money, some compensation for being alive? Cold, desert, harsh and salty. How is it here? Head of a dog poking from the ditch. It says, "Take me in, my eyes, infinity sad." She says, "My familiar." And shouldn't Asmodeus sweep her up, pink cake flowing over the hills as soldiers hunt the burnt fields? One eye a blur, the other a green landscape. Her mournful planet, something digging out from the ashes, trying to get born. Into her thicket gather all the birds. She's carried off yelling, "Uh-oh, myth." It's a chilly honor to be pinned among the stars. Her crown's a rake's end, a glittering fence adorned with tears of the poor. Her consolation is her uselessness. As far as this world goes, everything almost not here, a bubble burst to mist. Still, I get out of bed, go to work for decades, though it has come to my attention that I will die. I should have tunneled out. I had my spoon. The days slipped by, just keeping the atoms organized, padded into the shape of a body, until undone by some bungle, the structure gives way like a balsa wood bridge tested to failure, reverting to prior conditions as pile of sticks. Bookish house. Beneath the floorboards, even the rats composing its memoirs, on the backs of my ancient homework, bloody blue cursive, list of kinds of coal, anthracite, bituminous, lignite, a diagram sentence, chief exports of South America, nuns, red pencil, blah, 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 my childish diligence. No one cares about any of that, thinks the rat correctly. I have time to do this one. I wrote some poems about various kinds of detectives, and this is the girl detective as an old person. It's called Aging Out. From behind a limp curtain, the elderly girl detective sees through a row of windows, a hand petting a cobra, a woman's shadowy profile, a small stuffed alligator on a velvet cushion. Clues to what? The secret of life and death is only the clock. Down a long linoleum corridor of tarnished numbers, the door clicks shut. Evening light, slanted, yellow. She keeps her deductions private, a silence filled up with bland sakes, imaginary pie in the cold oven. Ghost granny in worn print dress and favorite chair, who is in charge. This last poem is called Empyrean. A silent biplane loops the loop through blue air as if up there it's long ago, as if time happened differently in the sky, and looking up, we might see anything, spaceships or huge shadow of passenger pigeons migrating toward absence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martha. I'd like to think that the rat is also absolutely correct. We are the rat.
Very good.
Okay, next up we have Kevin Gallagher.
Thank you, organizers. I feel like I should try to read this on my head. to pay homage to Richard Moore, who used to do readings here every Tuesday night in the 1980s. The Wild Goose was a literary magazine that John Boyle O'Reilly had on the ship that was taking him from England to Australia for a sentence of life because he had tried to infiltrate the British Army on behalf of the Irish people. This is my sort of little magazine about that I wrote in 2018 and 2019 as a fellow at Heinrich Boll's cottage in Achill Island in County Mayo. It's a little bit of exploration about Ireland, about John Boyle O'Reilly himself and my father. Lugh in Irish mythology is the guy who is seen as the founder who scared away Balor, who was this big god kind of guy who had his eyes shut at all times. But when he opened it, he could turn everybody to stone. Birth of a Nation. Ethelyn smelled love in the sea, saw sex when she looked at the sun, and when she rested her eyes at night, she sensed love in her dreams. Her father, Balor, made the Danann pay up 1/3 of all their grain, 1/3 of all their milk, and one child of every 3 to feed his greed and army. A druid told him he would die by the hand of his grandson, so he locked up his only little girl, Ethelyn, in a lonely tower, guarded by 12 warrior women, all sworn to never mention or ever let Ethelyn see a man. She heard songs come from the sea that none of her guardians could make out. Whenever she heard them, she felt birds beating their wings in her chest. Too soon, Ethelyn was fully grown, mature, and beautiful. She wanted her full breast to be kissed. She wanted to fill her empty womb. She was so alone in her tower. Balor wanted to feed his power, so he turned Ethelyn into a boy and stole Chion's favorite cow. Chion went to Byrog, the she-druid, who disguised Chion as a woman and blew him high off to Balor's island, where he landed safely at the foot of Ethelyn's lonely tower. Byrog spelled the guardians to sleep, and Chion was to look for his cow. But standing before him was the most stunning woman he had ever seen or dreamed of. He turned right back into a man. As Chion stared at her, Ethelyn's whole body went warm. She now saw what she only heard. She now had what she had only dreamed of. They each declared their love for each other in the same breath and gently took off their clothes before they could breathe another. He buried his face in her breast as she put him between her thighs and sang a long, slow psalm of love up into the skies. Chion went to live with her forever, but knew Balor would kill him. Byrog blew him another wind. Chion left, but left behind a son. John Boyle O'Reilly, 1865, prisoner number 9843. After years of cutting and blasting roads, my job was to hack the jungle to death. Black-skinned bushmen moved all around us. Their chiefs wore hammered breastplates of pure gold. Not one single white man ever found an ounce, but these Australians would never give up. Riveted to 30 pounds of iron, separated from my compatriots, you gave me an axe and taught me how to swing. I looked at the army of mahogany lit up by thousands of white cockatoos, motionless under a blue copper sky. My sweat would sting and my axe would ring, and those giants of a lost age fell down. Times of London, 1869. To the attention of all British colonies, John Boyle O'Reilly, registered number 9843, Imperial Convict, arrived in the colony per convict ship Hougoumont in 1868, sentenced to life imprisonment, 9th July, 1866. Description: healthy, appearance, present age, 25 years, 5 feet, 7.5 inches, high black hair, brown eyes, dark complexion, and convicted Irishman. Dangerous, conniving, untrustworthy, revolutionary, against the crown, absconded from Convict Road Party, Bunbury, 18th of February. John Boyle O'Reilly escapes from Australia and finds himself to Boston and becomes the editor of the Boston Pilot and one of the most famous poets of the 19th century. John F. Kennedy says that O'Reilly's his favorite poet. There's a sculpture of him over in the Fens. Welcome back. You don't even know how to pronounce your name. You hardly even know where you're from. You parachute in here and blow the tires off our rent-a-cars on our narrow roads. I charge you twice as much for the replacements, in part because I know you have insurance, in part because it just pisses me off that part of you is so scared to be home. Where were you on Easter 1916? You think being Irish is parading your drunken face off on St. Patrick's Day and drinking black and tans on Boston pubs? We know you're never coming back for good. And if you did, you wouldn't be understood. Last poem.
1 minute left.
Perfect. Those summer Saturdays. Saturdays too, my dad woke up early, put on his grass-stained Sperry topsiders, his green Bermudas with paint stains and whales, then took the entire day to mow the lawn. He'd snap open and fire up his Zippo, then mow 2 perfect rows with a Salem Menthol 100 shrinking from his mouth. Time to take a break for a Miller Lite, to turn up Ken Coleman for the Sox score, to shout it out for everyone to know. He'd save the empty cans to be redeemed, then light another butt for 2 more rows. 1 lawn, 3 packs, and a case in a day. And what did I know? What did I know?
One line? That's a fantastic image. Thank you so much. Last but definitely not least, the last reader of the hour is Suzanne Berkeley. Oh my God, this is very marvelous that you guys just I'm in awe of all of you. Oh, I love you. I'm going to read selections from a very long poem that I've written about a hive. It's written in syllabics based on the Agrippa's magical square for Venus. I won't even try to explain that right now because we don't have time. And it's a spell, and this is just a part of it. I'm going to read as much as I can in my 7 minutes. I look through parted fingers to balance the sun's quintessence in the bee's embodied flight. Dirty alchemist, you are a planet burnt by sun. Inanna returns to you as a swarm of bees trembling. She shakes the sun's head, crumbling in pollen, regenerates the world. I remember her flight and the sunflower's heliotropic gaze. The hive is utterance, a chorus of wings, a shadow theater, backlit of liminality, a golden ratio of honeycomb, dark red resin and baked palms. Talk to the bees. Go tell them everything. O anchoress, cave and queen light, soft rustle wings and shining, hive light and consciousness. You instruct me, glisten the silver rain in our wings and wildflowers. She is the sun, earth bones and veiled thorax. And the seed is as well bronze, a wisp holding 100 times its weight in rainwater. Inanna takes flight. In Napa Valley, beekeepers said goodbye to their hives, then fled to the fires. Returning, one found her hive beneath a tree root, alive, a sheltered vibrato.
Inanna weeps, pine resin, a bee captured. Hairy-legged bee, I have so much to say to you. I am a root unfurled, chlorophyll spreads through my fingers. You are a doorway that stings me. The hive is further away than I thought, a dance, an operatic constellation made of pollen. I could not ever be less than a flower now. A bee sits on my head. The west wind slips silver the margin. Lace wings lift cord grass from blue. Time isn't made of anything. Slum gum, brood nest, honeycomb, queen flight, all of this world, planet that I was. A bee cycle, a bicycle, a bike of bees. Legs coated in blue pollen, sunlight, and cobalt squill. I have been stung 12 times today. The hive is a blast riot of pollen cells. I love the black ones best, the scattered spirit mirrors. Oriental poppy, viper's bug gloss, white horse chestnut, mountain ash, hawthorn, blackthorn, meadow sweet, deadly nightshade, hairy willow, wild cherry, wild bluebell, evening primrose. Hold me for just one moment, while Inanna unfurls from herself. In the nimbus of this gray morning, apparitional queen, I am awake for you. We are written in scent, smoke and bergamot, cyparum, buds of myrrh. It was a defect, a wound in the universe that induced matter to gather and produce all this burr comb, a galaxy distribution inside the hive. If I could find anything blacker than black, I'd use it. Honey is eternal, found in graves, in clay jars, as if new. You could eat it right there with your fingers standing at their door. Miriatio mortis, dead layers of bees and leaves, winter detritus at the hive door crossing. The sun is memory, the hive, a levitating library of early nectar. The heart should be sweet. It wants to be. It takes strength to keep it that way, strength and honey. My cheek is covered with pollen. She lives. The hive is arca, from the Greek, an archive, a place from which everything converges, cells, secrets, and larvae. Enough for one day. These bees tangled in my hair. This one is lost. Saddlebags filled with pollen, tarsals kicking against curl, buzzed until I gently pulled her free. That way, darling, that way. The hive is a soft fissure in time, reclaimed in nectar flow. Ensnared in flowers, I fall on grass with a bee riding in my hair again. Is it ever not spring? Somewhere in the world it must be spring. When you see this, your wing will kiss me. Why is this honey such a bright red? The bees gathered its nectar from the maraschino cherry factory in Red Hook. Maybe you should not ask. Save yourselves. And finally, the hive is my soul school, my wild book, my self-propelled flower, complete with marginalia. Tell me what wrote this. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. The maraschino and cherries. I'm thinking like hipster bees in Brooklyn. I just can't get them out of my mind. Poems write themselves. They're so weird. I believe it. Thank you all so much for this really wonderful hour. Thank you for your attendance. We do, Suzanne, would you come back up on stage? If you don't mind, please come on.
Oh, we have, we're doing a special thing right now and Suzanne didn't know about it.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm enjoying this without crying. No, I'm gonna cry. Okay. We celebrated a couple weeks ago because Suzanne had stage 1 cancer and she got the all clear. So we wanted to take the celebrate her. So we got her this. Oh, you! Oh my God! No, they're right here. Oh my God, you guys! And cupcakes. Oh my God, this is beautiful.
I am overwhelmed. I am verklempt, as they say. I don't know what to say. This is beautiful. You guys are just beautiful. You are beautiful. Thank you. You're so sweet. And we got cupcakes.
Okay, and so the next hour is JJ Rowan, Anna Ross, Jim Dunn, Mark Lamoureux, Bridget Eileen, Cheryl Clark Vermeulen, and Ken and JP Garcia.